first attempt at trying to use the Hawk Helium 2-step. I've never used these before. I'm trying to get into the saddle thing, and so what you're dealing with me is somebody trying to do something for the first time. Maybe this is exactly where you're at. Watching a lot of the videos and watching a lot of the recommendations, the Hawk Helium steps seem like a great plan because of the way they stick together. I can pack them in this way together, just so you can see. They simply has a hole and a punch. Put those two things together, push them, and by golly, they stick together. We can stick that on a backpack, so I thought that was a pretty good idea. They're a little heavier, maybe, than some of the one sticks and some of the more expensive things, but frankly, I'm on a budget. I can't buy the ultra bestest. I'm going to tell you, you're probably in for $1,000 by the time you get into all the stuff. From a saddle perspective, I don't know, I probably have $800, maybe $850 put in this already, and I'm probably not done buying doodads. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try just working with this short tree. I'm not going to try and get high. I'm not going to try and alter my life by dealing with this stuff. But right now I'm just going to try and we're going to learn together. So take them apart. I'm going to try and maybe get a couple of steps up. I have 4, so we'll see how this goes. Probably watching and saying he's already screwed it up, right? But we're going to give it a shot. This could either be a commercial for Hawk Helium, or it could be a ringing offense to them. So we'll see how this goes. And they call me and say, please take your video down. What I've seen of these, the idea was to be able to get your foot up here on that first step, right? So it doesn't do a whole lot of good if you get out in the woods and you can't get your foot up on that first step. I have a little toy that we're going to try here in a little bit, see how that does. But first I'm going to just try get this pushed down and dug in, right? One of the things that I've seen fellas doing is trying to get these lines hooked so that they're not swinging. But I also don't want to step on them, so I think there's going to have to be some happy medium. I don't want to be stepping on them and get my foot caught while I'm trying to get down out of a tree. Okay, so here's my little toy that I was talking about, and it's by a company called Backwoods Gear. I keep looking at all these different cheats that people use for ways that they can get up a little bit higher and extend the distance that these steps are able to make use of. So one of the things that I saw was this Backwoods Gear aider. So the idea is it's got a loop at the top that can be looped onto the step and then extend you out so that you can go further up using this aider. So this is what we're going to try. Now, don't blame them. Again, don't try this at home. I'm just learning, so I'm asking you to learn with me. You know, like grow hunting. We can grow in this concept. So as I understand it, I put this on my foot, wrap this piece around my leg. So that it sticks with me. The idea is that you want it to stay with you, right? So now I can add this to a step and come up. So let's see how that works. These are one step. That's better. So I'm putting on that knob that we use for putting on the straps, and that feels very comfortable. So I'm going to get a second stick up here. See how this works? Yes, I heard you all say, hey y'all, watch this, right? I mean, I'm going to admit the whole time I'm thinking, how quickly can I really do this in the actual deer woods, right? I've already run into a problem as my example tree is probably not the best example tree. Man, that's a horrible example. Not a good tree. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to get a better example tree. But that gives an idea as to how this backwoods gear piece works with the steps. I'm learning some things right up front. Let's take a look at something. All right, to figure out how to use the steps better, I'm gonna need to get a taller tree that I can get, or a tree that doesn't have limbs quite so low that I can work with. But so I'm going to work with now is I'm going to practice working with the platform that I have. What I have in a platform and in a saddle are the Tethrd combination. I have the Tethrd Phantom, and I did buy some generic pockets, but I do have the Tethrd Phantom as my saddle, and I'm going to try and put this Tethrd Phantom saddle on and try and get us started. That was simple enough. Also kind of quiet, you know. When I clipped it on my legs, it wasn't noisy. Okay, fairly straightforward. If you've worn a safety harness before, I think you can figure this out fairly easily. There are these orange clips. You know what it feels like to me? I've got those reversed. Show you what I'm talking about. This hook, I feel like if I hook it on the opposite side, notice that it feels like, there we go, back up a little bit. It looks like it could just drop out. And I'm a big believer of if it could go wrong, it will go wrong. So we're going to flip this thing around to the other side so that it goes down into that hole. When you're 20 feet up in the air, gravity is not your friend. probably would not be an issue, but I want to make sure that I'm bringing it through the right way. Now, again, I'm a first-time guy walking through this probably with other first-time guys, so that seemed pretty easy to me to get that on. So the next piece is to make use of our lineman's rope. Now, assuming we already have the steps on, because we've shown we can put the steps on, the next thing we're going to do with this thing is to get our platform in place. But for the moment, let's work on getting our lineman's rope up. Can you see how if you get a tree that's much bigger than this, it's going to be a problem because you're going to be up in the air trying to get your arms around. Not a good plan if your arms don't go around. What I've added is something called a rope man, and I'll bring it over there and show it to you in a little bit. But the idea behind the rope man, and I'm learning this, again, this is literally the first time I've ever done this. What I'm learning is to try and give me more slack. See, now that could be a problem if you were in a tree, couldn't it? This is why we learn on the ground. Opposed to a Prusik knot, it's like a mechanical Prusik. The idea is to be able to just pull that out, get closer, you want to get farther away, be able to pull this. That's going to require some practice. Get used to pulling that while you have yourself secured. Because very quickly you can have too much slack and be way down. But the idea is, with a Prusik, you would have to grab a hold. Looks like to me I'm having to grab a hold anyway, right? This is my ignorance, very likely. There'll be a video 2.0 when Todd learns how to use it, right? Okay, this is the platform that I purchased. This platform is the one that is the Predator XL, because I'm an XL fella, and I thought this made a good choice. This is the Predator XL, and it is the platform that you stand on. For you tree stand guys, most of the time you're sitting, right? But when you're dealing with the saddle, what you're doing most of the time is, as we saw, we are swinging out and hanging from our tether. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the platform on the way that I've seen recommended, and we're going to hook it up and go. So. What I see the fellas doing, and again, I think as we're doing this, I think you're going to see just how important it would be that you not be on a tree that you can't put your arms around. I would argue that we have found the tree that is the perfect, almost too big size for me. So anything bigger than this would just be a bad idea. Put those 2 loops on. Put the platform up against the tree. Tighten this down as best you can. And then, all I see, you need to shove this down as far as you can shove it. And then kick it out. And that seems to me like it can still do better. Lineman's rope. I'm gonna argue I don't feel real secure about that. Next thing is to put up the actual tether. They say to put this up about eye level, so that's where we're going to go with it. Put up a safety harness in a hanging tree or a climbing tree stand that you brought with you. This is basically that rope. Okay, I have a rope man on it, but it's just because I was getting fancy and I thought I would try it, right? But we're going to take the tether, this rope that is always attached. We're going to clip it onto the clip. We're going to make sure our clip is in place. Run it up to where we feel secure. It's biting. And we're going to get brave and we're going to just take off this lineman's rope. And for the first time since we got it, actually I'm going to try and hang it in the saddle. Now this is where these pouches come in handy. What I'm doing is I'm just taking this lineman's rope because I'm going to need it to go back down. I'm just going to wrap it up. Stick it in my pouch. Off we go. So here we are. I can tell you already, for me, I kind of feel like I would want this up higher. I want the saddle down lower. I want to be able to sit it. See, I'm going to have to learn how to secure that thing better, because I just feel like that noise I just made is going to chase a deer off I'm trying to get to. Okay, so that's first time in the saddle. Order to get down. Why do you buy knee pads? We'll be buying some knee pads. Okay, so that's the first try with the saddle. I'm going to work on the get down move. We'll see how that goes. I'm just going to reattach my lineman's belt. And start climbing down, right? All right, like I said, I'm gonna have to get better at putting in that platform. It would work. I mean, I was safe. It would work. It's still hanging there, right? So I do feel safe about that. The problem for me is that I just feel like I need to be able to get it more secure. Probably need to tighten some bolts. It's the first time I've ever used it, so thanks for hanging with me, and join me a little bit later as I get better at this thing, and let's crow hunting.